From KSL Broadcast House, this is Sunday Edition with the Deseret News and KSL.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Edition. I'm Dave McCann. This morning we're tackling Utah's wage gap. In nearly every report and ranking metric evaluating the gender-based wage gap, Utah is at the bottom. Currently, the state ranks 49th out of 50 states, with women being paid roughly 68 cents for every dollar paid to a man. This according to the 2016 Congressional report. Experts say this gap reveals a deeper problem in Utah and across the country, a cultural devaluation of caregiving work, including jobs often held by women. It also shows that flexibility at work has a value and that women who want to prioritize family have to pay a steep price. Joining me this morning to discuss all of this, Deseret News reporter Sara Israelsen-Hartley, who's looked deeper into this issue. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
What did you find that was most surprising when you looked into the wage gap?
Well, first of all, that there is a wage gap. There's a lot of debate as to whether that exists, but it does in fact exist. Kind of the concern is the number that we use to talk about that. Some people want to focus on the 20 cents, but when you consider a host of other factors such as profession, age, years of experience, that gap can narrow significantly. And because of that, some want to kind of dismiss it as no longer a problem.
So 68 cents on the dollar, that's pretty significant, isn't it?
That is.
And what needs to get done about it? How can that get brought closer together?
Well, when we take into consideration all those different factors, education, profession, even the employer themselves, the gap narrows to about 5, 7, 8 cents, depending on the report. That's still a problem, and one way to tackle it is to have employers look at their policies and look at what they're paying their employees. Another thing is education and the role that plays in helping young girls especially see the array of careers that could be open to them, especially careers that are very high paying. Right now, a lot of the highest paying careers are dominated by men.
One thing I've noticed as a father is college education is emphasized for kids today, both boys and girls, much more significantly than when we were kids, especially for young women. It's now about, and with my daughters, we're going to get your education, get your degree, and then march out into life, where
Absolutely.
it might not have been the same.
Absolutely.
Is this the end result of something like that?
Hopefully. In Utah specifically, we kind of lag behind in some of our college attainment rates, and we'll talk about this later in our series, but young women are getting their associate's degrees, but they're not finishing college, and that directly contributes to the wage gap if they don't have an education that they can rely on to then go get those high-paying jobs.
How much does that factor into our culture, especially the Mormon culture? Young girl meets a young guy at school, he graduates, her degree's not done, they leave for his job.
Absolutely. There's a huge emphasis in the LDS culture of raising a family and having children, and that's very important, but there's also this pressure that women feel that if they want to work, but they also want to raise a family, there's some disconnect with how they feel they should best go about doing that. And so that's what we've also explored in the series of looking at how women balance that, the desire to work, to provide for their family, but to also be a caregiving mother and a wife.
Well, for back in the day when women stayed home to raise kids, that's changed as well. Has that had a dramatic impact on the workforce?
Absolutely. Back in the day, you had women and men kind of working side by side in the home, and all of the work was at home. But then once the work moved outside the home, it kind of fell to the man to go do that work outside the home, and the woman stayed in the home. And so there's definitely been some historical influence in that.
What do you want people to learn from your series as this goes on?
I want them to learn that there is a wage gap, but that it can be closed if we take a moment to kind of evaluate the different factors that play into creating this gap.
All right, be very interesting. Thank you for being here,
Thank
Sara.
you.
And you can read more of Sara's work at DeseretNews.com and in this morning's issue of the Deseret News.